Welcome to week
12.
12. It's do or die. Are you going to make the playoffs? Or are you going to miss out?
It's kind of a big week. We got a log jam here, buddy.
Yeah, it's about as tight as it could be.
Like a big wiener and some whitey tighties, huh?
No, that's right.
All right. Well, this week we have basically the ESPN ranks with records and where your team stands and what you need to do to get into the playoffs. We're going to start with the bottom team and work our way to the top.
At the bottom, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars. David, we're struggling a little bit.
We've played 11 weeks, right?
11 weeks, yes.
And he has one win.
Yeah, that's one win.
You almost have to try to be that bad, don't you?
You know, at some point you're not playing fantasy football anymore. You're playing nightmare football. This is getting a little absurd, Dave.
Keep your head up, Dave.
Yeah, there's always next season. You start thinking about your keepers, and you move on.
So, with that being said, Dave, you're not making the playoffs this year. We'll move on to number 9. This is Team Bye Week.
Team bye week, Jason Gaither.
What are your thoughts on him?
2-9, made a lot of moves. We don't know if you're coming back next year. We'd love to have you. It's an easy win, you know. Now, you gave me a scare last week, Jason. You almost threw me out of the playoffs. I think he has a solid team. He can still beat people. That's the biggest thing. He's still, unlike Dave, unfortunately, he's still a guy that can beat people.
He's 2-9. The rest of his schedule is not that favorable with me and Jeff coming up on the schedule. But like you said, he can beat people, and maybe he ruins Jeff or I's dream of the postseason.
Absolutely. He's very capable of that.
So at least that's in play for you, Jason. All right, now let's talk about the real contenders, the people who still have an outside shot of making the playoffs. Now, a couple teams here at 5 and 6. First, we'll talk about the anal intruder, Mike Collins.
The anal intruder. He added the anus a few weeks ago. Boys, it worked out for you.
Yes, it has. He's on a little bit of a heater, I'd say.
Yeah. Mike, you beat me 2 out of 2 times. If I end up in a tiebreaker with you, I'm pretty nervous.
I'm going to steal a fact from you, and you said that Mike's only scored over 100 points 3 times this season, and twice was against you.
I believe this to be true.
That's kind of some bad luck for you.
Yeah, and I will say again, the anus had to have helped him a little bit.
Maybe it did.
I think
It's
so.
a good attention to detail on your part by noticing that.
Yeah, I saw the anus slip in there.
So
We noticed.
basically, with these two teams, they have to win out, and the 7 and 4 teams have to lose out for them to even have a chance. It really is going to come down to week 13 for them because they play each other, Keith and Mike. So that's going to be a big matchup for them if they both win this weekend.
Right. Yeah, I mean, they need everything to go well for them, and they have to win out. That's basically all it comes down to. Jeff and I have to lose 2, and they have to win them both, and hope the tiebreaker situation works out for them.
That's true. And, you know, we kind of same situation going on with Keith here. With Keith's team, though, is being at 5 and 6. He got hot really early when he had put together that Denver squad, and he's kind of cooled off a little bit. And that trade for Dez, I think, is really going to bite him in the ass next year when he doesn't have a third-round pick.
Yeah, I blew a little sigh of relief when I beat Keith a couple weeks ago, and I saw him lose this week because he's a dangerous team. I didn't want any part of him in the playoffs, so I'm more than happy to see him out of it.
All right, we'll see how it plays out with those two, but it's do or die for you guys at this point, as is most people this week.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's hit the cluster that is 6 and 5. That's me and Camden. Let's hit on Daniel's team first.
Well, I said it before. Daniel, in good position. I'm sure he'd rather be in with Jeff and I at 7 and 4, but in good position because he controls his own fate. He plays both Team Sanam and Living the Dream.
That's true, and it pretty much if he beats you this weekend, if his eyes are on Jeff, and at that point he's playoff bound.
Oh, absolute, definite. My top candidate to possibly steal
Your
a
dark
shot.
horse?
My dark horse to steal a shot in the playoffs, and I hope it's not me that he beats.
Problem is the strength of schedule left is the hardest of anybody.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think that works to his advantage because he's one game down. He's got to play those teams.
That's true.
He's got to play those teams. He needs them to lose. So what better person to do it than himself?
Basically, what you're saying, if he makes the playoffs, then he's really earned it.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. But you ain't beating me this week, so let's not worry about that.
We'll leave the playing on the field here. All right. So again, like Camden, this week is my Super Bowl. I need to beat Mr. Shuttlecock, or I'm done for the season. Game's getting ready to kick off here in about 20 minutes.
Big game.
So I'm playing a bold strategy this week. You can't stop Drew Brees, so you might as well try to steal some of the points by having Colston out there, at least to soften the blow if Brees' balls are being thrown his way.
And you went all in this week.
I did go on.
Made a couple big trades, one of them to myself, one of them to the anus.
Gave up a lot of solid players, but got a couple pieces I think that may help me make this playoff run. But we'll see how it plays out. It really depends on the next two teams. If you and Jeff are sitting at 7-4, if you guys win out, then no chance for me, Camden, Keith, Mike.
Yeah.
But you guys have to lose out or can win one, and still things can be rocky for you.
But I think you're right. This is a big game for you this week. You got to beat Shuttlecock to have a chance.
All right, Taylor, I'm coming for you, buddy. All right, let's hit up Jeff Sedam. That's sitting at 7-4, sitting pretty. I mean, talking about a team that's been really up and down all season, but more ups than downs apparently.
Coming alive.
Mm-hmm.
Coming alive, Team Sedam. Yeah, he is sitting pretty.
What's
7-4?
What's also sitting pretty is that he plays team bye week this week. So
That's always a favorable matchup. But like we said, Jason can get you. He's beat Dave twice, so if that says anything.
yeah, Jeff, you're really going to want to beat Jason this weekend because Camden is lurking in week 13, eyeing you hard right now.
Yeah.
But he has to get through our number 3 team first. Ted, also sitting at the 7-4 record, has Camden and Sauter. You tie Camden with the hardest strength of schedule remaining as well.
Yeah, I got a bulky finish here. It's gonna be tough. I definitely, much like Daniel, kind of control my fate. I gotta win this week, and I gotta win at least one of the next two to find myself in the playoffs.
I mean, basically, yeah, that's true, but let's assume you're in the playoffs. You need to beat Camden regardless, but that game with Sauter is really going to rely on your playoff seeding,
Right.
which, I don't know how much it really matters, but you probably want to stay away from...
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't want to win the whole thing? I mean, who doesn't want to win the regular
That's
season?
true.
I know I do. And there's still an opening, if Shuttlecock's able to lose 2, and if Todd's able to lose 2, and I might have a matchup in the last week to be able to win the league, and I enjoy that.
That's true.
Yeah.
So then, moving on to those top 2 teams that everybody would prefer they lose out.
Oh,
Basically, if
the top dogs.
Todd or Matt wins one more game, then they're already pretty much a lock for the playoffs. But if they win one more, it's for sure they're in that Final Four.
Yeah, you can almost lock them in right now, but there's still that outside chance to where they could lose them both, and a lot of crazy things could happen. But yeah, they're definitely set up.
Sauter's schedule
It's a
is
battle.
Sauter's playing a red hot Mike this week, and then plays you in week 13. So it's not an easy battle for him. But Shuttlecock, on the other hand, me and him are going to have some fisticuffs this weekend. But then he's got Dave in week 13, so you got to think that's a pushover for
Yeah,
him.
and I'd really like to know more about Shuttlecock.
The man, the myth, the legend.
The man, the myth, the legend. Shuttlecock, all he does is win. Just number 1 in the league the whole year.
Yeah, he really never has relinquished that number 1 spot since week 1, has he?
He never has. He has given a couple games back here, but he's right in the hunt. Tied for first, sitting pretty.
Regardless of who ends up in these Final Four spots, it's really going to come down to head-to-head records for the seeding. And I'm not really sure how ESPN is going to play it out. It's head-to-head records, but if there's some sort of tie after that, I don't know if they're going to go to points or head-to-head record against alike opponents.
Right.
I'm not really sure how it's playing out. The computer will do all the math for us and let you know who gets what seed. But at this point, I'm going to go ahead and say I see Matt as the 1 seed, you as the 2 seed, Todd as the 3, and Camden as the 4.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I'd like to think things may shift. I don't like to think it since I'm in the top 4, but I think things will stay the same, but it's definitely possible that it could mix up. I'm going to agree with you, Rob. I think it's going to stay the same. I think Shuttlecock will win them both. I don't know. I think you might fall out of there. I think Shuttlecock will win them both. Todd will slip into second. I think myself and Jeff may end up tied for third place there, and it may come down to tiebreaker. And I think I got you.
Okay, well then.
So that's going to be my prediction.
All right, so you say things play out the same.
Things play out the same.
Well, as the many seasons of fantasy that I've played, all I know is one thing is true: the team that wins the regular season, majority of the time, does not win the championship in the end.
And is Shuttlecock a dick reference, or is it an obscure badminton reference? That's really my question.
It's been really the question on everybody's minds all season, but there's only one
Matt,
person
we
that can answer
love
that.
more details. Vince Shuttlecock, is it a dick reference, or is it a badminton reference? Because in the biz, he may have a badminton reference. I don't know.
It's true, but maybe next week we'll find out in the Week 13 video. Maybe Taylor will come on here and tell us himself.
I'd love to get more on the Vince Shuttlecock.
All right, well, tonight begins the Super Bowl for some people. It's do or die week, as Teddy
Watch
said.
out for Jimmy Graham tonight.
And we'll see you next week in Week 13.
Good luck.